Hello and welcome to the Game of Life, yet another edition, another episode of yet another interesting guest. And in the studio of the Game of Life today, this is a special one. Someone, if you follow Ugandan football, this is the one you've been waiting for. He thinks he is one of the top two greatest Ugandan footballers ever. And he is very strong in that conviction. And if you are a goalkeeper, maybe you may never have wanted to face him if you played football. A defender, well, perhaps you don't want to have met him somewhere on the pitch. Captained Kololo SS, captained KCC then, which is KCC today, captained the Uganda Cranes, top squad for Uganda in the AFCON qualifiers of 1994, and won 2 Uganda Cups with KCC, 2 League Cups with KCC, 3 Sekafa titles with the Uganda Cranes. He has also coached the game. Coached at KCC, coached at Kagera in Tanzania, coached at Sunrise Sunshine in Rwanda, yes as well, and coached at Ssimbwa, one of the greatest 2 clubs in Tanzania as well. Helped Liantonde stroke URA get promoted to the Uganda Premier League, Uganda Premier League, then Super League, and coached Bunamwaya as well. He has done it all in football. And crossed the borders too. Played for El Masry in Egypt, played for Esperance in Tunisia, and towards the end of his career, did some travels to Oman. This is the man. Played as an 8, but played across the midfield, behind the main striker as a 10, and scored loads of goals in the midfield. People who know the game call him Mia Mia. And in studio, the one and only, Jackson Mayanja, Mia Mia. Welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Jackie, for making it here, because you know how we started this before we got here.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Ove mukono kati.
Vamukono, yeah.
That's home.
Yeah.
Bagamba kya mukono.
Mukono barungi.
Thank you for making it. Fetuli bulungi.
Yeah, but I didn't know Kuja because I think you are one of us, the legends of the media.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I didn't know Kuja. I have to. I'm not honoring my
the promise.
The promise, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for making it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming from Mukono. Those of you who are watching this and you're wondering where is Mukono, from town, from Kampala city to Mukono is about 22-23 kilometers. And on this morning that we are doing this show, it actually rained, but you are here way in time. Thank you very much. Okay. You live to your word. So Jackie, that's quite a profile that I just introduced you with there. It's like, what haven't you done in football?
I think I've done it all.
You at home, at least in Uganda?
I've done it all, and the only thing that I didn't achieve is to win the World Cup.
and play at AFCON as well.
And even to win the AFCON. Not just play at AFCON.
But to win.
But to win AFCON.
Yes.
You know, always when you're going to things, you must go for success, to win it. Don't just go and participate. You have to go and win it.
Thank you so much. If you're watching this and you are a student of the game today, and I'm talking the likes of maybe Alan Okello, we are talking the likes of Saidi Mayanja, the likes of the Umar Taros. Those are the boys playing today as well. And you're wondering, this is a man, if you want to follow the people who did it, this is the man you need to follow, Jackson Mayanja, because we are a bit unlucky that a good number of tapes when you guys played football, maybe we may not have access to. But those who read, those of us who followed, I followed you mostly on radio, by the way, because I was in a school that is way out of Kampala, St. Louis College in Fort Portal, and we followed you guys through Radio Uganda commentary.
Okay.
But I also was a good reader. So every other day, I would go to the library and pick up a newspaper and just follow up. So I followed the game in the newspaper and on radio. And I was like, the only game I watched you, this is quite funny or strange. The only game I watched you Toro United at the time was in the Super League.
The Premier League, yes.
Yes, 1997.
Okay.
You came to Buhinga Stadium I think KCC, then KCC, now KCC, won that game 1-0. You scored that goal. I remember that goal. I think you got the ball and somehow you curled it. You know, a curler that is on the ground, kind of, it's not like a ball in air, but you curled that and you won that game, I think, 1-0. You went on to win the league that season in 1987, and you were the captain at the time. But all this, we need to go back to where it all starts, Jackie. Born in Mukono.
Yes.
Your dad and mom, do you still have them?
Not only lost my father, my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
But then you did not grow there in Mukono. Did the football find you in Mukono, or it found you somewhere else that you grew?
No, the football found me in Zambia. In Kampala.
Which in Zambia? The village or the barracks?
Zambia Police Barracks. I used to stay with my grandfather.
Okay.
So, and I...
Was he a policeman?
He was a police officer.
Okay.
And the CID, one of the experienced CID officers in the police. We used to stay in Zambia dog section. You know, there is in that police barracks, there is a dog section, there is band section, there is, you know. So we used to be in the dog section. And he was... the
guys who have the dogs in the caged?
Yes, I was a brother to my mom. And my mom gave me when I was at the early age of, but I don't know, but I was still very, very young. And I started at police children's school. That school you see down there. Because we used to slope from Zambia Police Barracks. And I used to study there.
Okay. And you were playing football at police?
And I was not playing football during that time when I went there. But I was playing this normal football.
Normal football. Kick about.
Empira jebipira bya mata. Bivera.
Oh yes. I mean everyone played. Everyone kicks that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So one time I reached in primary 7. And there were some guys who were playing from Marwa. They used to call them Uganda. So one time we went there and we went there. We saw I was a young kid there. My catchy shots of police children's school. So they called me also to go and play there. But it had rained that day. But because as a young man, you know, we normally want to do something, you know. And during that day, those people were training there on weekends. It was not a school time. And they gave me out to say, hey, Kadogo, come and we play.
So, which class is this?
I was in primary 7. So they said, Kadogo, come and we enjoy ourselves. These are people from Arua. Namanougenda was in Namuongo. That is the group used to come from Namuongo to come and play.
Okay.
At that ground where you see the Mukwano factories and so on. The police football ground used to be there.
Okay.
Until when Mukwano took it. But and then after that, they gave me to play there. And then what I did there, it was raining. It was too much rain, and I did my things. Guys of Malawi were falling in the water, doing what?
Barefoot?
So I was barefoot, of course. But until one time, a certain man called John Akii-Bua, the police officer, I think may his soul rest in eternal peace. He came there and watched me play there, the young man, and we started becoming ball boys of the police football club. And he told me, young man, come always and be with us, pick these balls and, you know.
Yeah.
And I was very active because I had already finished my primary level.
Okay.
And I got a first grade in primary leaving exams.
Nice.
And there came a friendly match for Police FC.
Police were in the league, top flight league at the time?
No. Police, I think, was in the first division.
Okay.
They were in the first division. Just because we used to stay around there, and we used to also to walk across in the evening to go and watch sports club.
Villa Park.
Yeah, at Villa Park. You know, those pitches were they are a bit close.
Yeah.
And John Akii-Bua told me, young man, you must always be coming here, pick for us balls and so on. And so I got attached to that that training session sometimes in the morning. And I had a friendly match with Kampala Club. And Kampala Club came to play against Police FC in that playground. So Akii-Bua told me, wherever they are not enough, they used to put me there. And we played that 4 against 2, and I used to touch. But I didn't have football boots. So when the game was there, it was a weekend, very many people, special branch, you know, these people were called special, those police officers were called special forces. These special force, those called special force. There are very many there, and then they say that 3 young men come. Ssemakola told me to come. I came at 1. I have
Okay.
a friendly
That's
match.
2 hours in advance.
Yes, I came at 1, and I reached there. So John Akii-Bua came. You remember John Akii-Bua?
He was in police
officer,
at the time, police officer. Yeah.
Strong man. And he came to the training pitch where we were there, and he asked, "You guys, young men, where are these police footballers?" So I just came out from the blue and said, I'm here.
We're here.
We are here. I'm one of them. So
okay.
He said, "What? Talk up.
I mean, you're like 15, 14?
No, I was almost 13 years.
13 years,
13 to 14 years.
Yeah.
So he said, "Talk up." The way I was looking, I was having a catchy short and my sandals, He looked at a young man who cannot even fit in a football pitch. So I just went away and stayed somewhere, waiting for Ssemakola, who told me to come. So when we reached Ssemakola saw me. He said, "Where's the other kadogo? Where's the other kadogo?" Then John Akii-Bua heard Ssemakola asking for the kadogo.
He remembered the kid he chased away.
Then he said, "John, if we lose this game, I'll put you in jail. If you lose this game," it was like I think it was a joke, joke. Then Ssemakola said, "Fine, no problem. We can't lose the game. This is a young man. We need to put these young boys around." And the game started on. Police lost 2-0 in the first round. But that game had it was comprising of players like Fred Mugisha. During that time, those are guys of KCSFC.
Yeah.
Hassan Biruma.
Yes.
Chuba. So they had come to play mercenaries. There was a secretary of KCC. If you remember him, he was a Munyankore man, but he died. He lost internal peace. He used to play tennis in Kampala club. So he was associated with those players. So he said, let's go and have fun in the weekend. So that those players came within that team. And when they came in that team, that's when Fred Mugisha saw me. It was 2-0. I came in there as a substitute. They gave me a big t-shirt and a very big a short, and they told me put on the boots, but because of my your feet was very small, so I could not match the boots. I just went in the boots, and everybody was saying, shouting, why this guy, young man, they break the boy. Just in 5 minutes, I had already put about 3 people down on the ground, and put a cross, and then it went up begging. In the 10 minutes time, I had already scored a goal. 2-1. And everybody went wild. Even John Akii-Bua himself, he said, "What? John, where did you get this young man here?" So in about some minutes, I scored a volley. Fantastic volley.
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. The whole pitch went wild. And they said, "This young man, where is he from?" Then after the game, John Akii-Bua, because he had a sports shop. You remember he used to be the agent of Puma in Uganda.
Yes.
He used to have a sports shop called Ovasani Motasas and so on, Kampala Club there. Kampala Sports something. Yes. So he said, "Young man, come here." He caught me and lifted me in the air and said, "Thank you very much." And all the special forces people were around me, I could not believe. They were holding me, giving me some small money, 100, because I was young, giving me 100 coins and then, but I didn't know what was happening. I was so young.
Okay.
And Akii-Bua told me, "Tomorrow, you must go to Kampala, and I want to see your father." Because, and my father was a special CID officer in police. And I got scared. This man wants my father to come. They're going to beat me at home. What am I going to tell you?
You didn't tell them you were playing.
They didn't know where I was even that time. They didn't know because I told them I'm going to school. The weekend we have coaching,
Yes.
We have coaching. So instead of that, I went to play football.
Wow.
So he told me, go to Kampala Sports Center shop and they give you a boot. And that was my first boot given to me by John Akii-Bua.
And it fit you properly?
It was a small boat for size 5. So I passed all through Kampala there, railway, you go there, and then I went to that shop. They gave me the boat, but I said, this is my life. In case this buyer catches me somewhere in the road, I will die with this. That's what that boot was like gold to me, because it was my first boot, size 5, Puma King.
maybe for our viewers who have no idea who John Akii-Bua is. John Akii-Bua is the first Ugandan to win any Olympic gold for Uganda. 1972, the Munich Games, 400 meters hurdles. John Akii-Bua became the first Ugandan to win gold. And we waited that long until 2012 in London when Stephen Kiprotich won the marathon. That's how great John Akii-Bua was. And he trained barefoot, by the way, ahead of the games. He went and just surprised everyone. And Puma became the company that was supporting him, dressing him, giving him the shoes, and he became their agent as well in Uganda. And that's how Jackson Mayanja got his very first boat.
So in fact, brief, when I learned about that story, and John Akii-Bua, they told us, you see that hill of the police training school going to Kibuli up, that road from down here, going up to Kibuli, the mosque. They told us that John Akii-Bua used to train there barefoot, being tied himself with a rope, pulling these tractor tires up to the top. And no wonder this guy became the champion in Munich. So people didn't know how he was training. And then from that day when they told me that story, I said, oh, okay.
Now you have a boot now.
Yes, now I have a boot from a champion. And I have also to be a champion. So I started working so hard. And that game, after that game, Freddie Mugisha, also is late Freddie Mugisha, may his soul rest in eternal peace. He said, young man, come here. They were with us and Biruma. Young man, come here. Well, you know KCC? I said, no, but I hear about the club. Because this time I didn't know about any club, apart from Sports Club Villa. Because Villa was next to us in Zambia,
Villa Park.
KCC is located in where? Lugogo. I didn't know Lugogo, but we used to pass when we were going to, we used to pass Kololo airstrip to go to Kololo Secondary School when I was starting there. So remember I got a first grade and Kololo SS brought me a letter. Chibuli brought a letter for me to go and study. Unlike these days, I don't know what happened these days, but during those days they send you a letter of a first grade to go and, because that's where first choice, where I put my first choice.
Okay.
So when Freddie Mugisha told me, please, I'm going to talk to Bidandi Ssali. I said, Bidandi Ssali? Bidandi Ssali was a minister during that time of energy. I think 11, what? Something. He said, we want you to go to cases. And John Latigo was in cases. And at the same time, a coach of Kololo Senior Secondary School. So that is how I moved from here and I went to Kololo SS. But there was a guy, I think you know him, called Angelo Lonyes.
Yes, of course.
Angelo Lonyes, when he saw me at the school, we were training these inter-schools. He said, inter-classes. He said, young man, come here. We need you to be what? In the school team. So I used to watch them from a distance. They play. I was hiding myself. But I used to have my Puma King at my home, at my grandfather's home. So when I went there, Bidandi called for my grandfather. He said, I don't want you, boy, you want to put me in problems. Because you remember it was a government employee. So he told me, you want to put me in problems, what? He went, they called him to the minister's office. And the minister told him, I want to look after this young man and build him. Make him to study more, take him for more studies. And Bidandi, my grandfather told him, this boy, I'm a grandfather, not a father. He has a father in Mukono, Rueza there. So he told them that he's going to come. I'm going to bring the father. So when they went to my dad told my grandfather, you go and finalize those things. So I went away from Zambia and relocated to Ssimbwa. Ssimbwa, I used to stay near Bidandi Ssali's home.
Okay.
In
Ssimbwa. Yeah, Ntinda Chwat.
No, Ntinda Ssimbwa Bukoto.
Bukoto, yes.
Yes, when you reach Bukoto.
At Victoria Church, you go in there.
Just there, but there. Yes. So he took me there. And I started staying there. Now I've lived in Zambia, young guy. He bought me a bicycle, not a motorbicycle. And he bought me a bicycle to go to Kololo and coming back. And I started a very big journey. We won, I became a captain of Kololo SS. And I started.
And Kololo was known for boxing.
Yes, but
you never attempted that.
After we went there, it became a strong powerhouse of football. And we're loved at Kololo SS. I want to tell you the truth. Football became very famous at Kololo SS. And I was at KCC in 1987.
But wait,
I got my first
before
license.
KCC, beyond that game you played for Police. You also played for the club, Police.
No.
You didn't play for the club?
No.
It's just that friendly
That friendly, I just used to train for Police FC.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
I just used to. I hear many people talk about that,
Yeah.
that I was a Police FC footballer. But at my age, I think, could not allow me to be licensed in the Premier League.
So that's 1985
Yes,
at Kololo, and then
no,
Bidandi Ssali you get
86,
to KCC.
86, I went somewhere, and then I went in Bukoto to stay there when I was trying to transfer myself from primary 7 to senior 1 to Kololo SS.
Okay.
And that's how I relocated to Ssimbwa, and Bidandi Ssali became my football father, but not my biological father. So he looked after me, and fans started laughing as a young man at Lugogo. So one time we were training there at Lugogo, I took a shot to Paul Ssali.
The 1998 78 goalkeeper.
Yes, Paul Ssali. He caught the ball and said, this boy, Mister, akana kukawera.
Oh, Bidandi Ssali was called Mister.
Yes, Mister. Akana kukalabika kawera. And Bidandi Ssali said, Wanji, kananga kato. Then the late, who was the chairman? It was
At the time?
John Akii-Bua.
John Akii-Bua, yes.
John Akii-Bua came and said, kana toka wademu. He was telling Moses Nsereko, the coach during that time.
Yes.
He was telling kana toka wademu. That's why he used
Why don't you give these kids some chance
that's how
to
we
play?
used to call to talk.
Yeah.
That's John Akii-Bua, famous.
Yes.
So people used to talk about him, about that accent.
Yes.
Kana toka wademu.
He comes from Fort
yes.
Toro like me, so
So
that's our
Nsereko
accent
came
there.
close to me and banged my stomach. I said, Papa, and I said, hey, I'm still a young man. No worries. He will play. He has a lot of time. So when we trained, Bidandi came there from his office. After work, he used to come to Lugogo. This guy used to love football. In fact, not only him, the
entire institution of the
the entire institution of football. Go to Villa, go to KCC, go to Express the Bari Mogeras. There was a lot of, love and passion of the game during those days from the executive members. There was no much football politics during that time. And I think that's why the football was so high up there. And unfortunately, the teams didn't qualify for World Cup, they didn't qualify for the AFCON, because even the other nations
were equally good.
Yes, were equally so good.
So you got to KCC 85, 86. That same year you actually immediately win the
I was
Uganda Cup.
in fact, before that time, they summoned me in the national team of the under 17.
Okay.
So I fitted there, we went to Somalia, and we came back here. There was a father, there's a reverend father. When we came back here, Somalia beat us there. And when we came back here, they said we should add on more over-aged players.
Okay.
And that father, reverend, he said he's a man of God.
Yeah.
He can't do that. He can't cheat age. They were putting in Magid Musisi and Robert Aroro, then Chris, this Chinyera. Somebody were very good players, so that we can feed up the team. But again, we lost. But the man said, "I'm a man of God, and I can't be on the bench as a manager, stealing age, to cheat age."
Yes.
And the man resigned.
Wow.
And during that day, some of us learned many things from such people, because that man was a man of God. And he said, many people thought it would be good to be a manager of the Cranes or the manager of under 20 or manager of under 17. Wow. And the man turned down and said, no, I'm a man of God.
Because he knew they were
I'm a man of God. And we thought we were going to win. Unfortunately, we lost again. Because we are young boys, but they put in some three over-aged players. Not very over-aged, but at least...
Just over 17.
Yes, over 17.
Yeah.
We lost it, and then we went to... We were bought out to the tournament. And the life continued. I went to KCC, 1997. Is it 87?
87.
I got my first license. When Bidandi called me when I was in the after class, he called me in his home and told me, please, in his room, young man, I want you to sign this license. I was like, wow, what is this? What is this? He told me, I want you to play your first license contract in football in the Premier League. At the time it was called Super League. I said, what is Super League? What is Super League? No, you're going to play, don't mind. I knelt down, because it was fantastic for me. But I went to Lugogo, I used to see guys. One time I went there, I was hiding in those big trees, there were mango trees there. At Lugogo, I think that's where now there's a bond.
Yes,
they have put a bond there of vehicles. So I was hiding there. Every time I used to come from school to go and train, I was hiding because I was so young. Just to see those guys during that time. You saw the Tom Lwangas here, the Peter Wandites, Professor Chito, Frank Chaze, Ssali. These are tall guys, very, they had size. So one time somebody went and picked me from there and brought me. He saw me and I went, he picked me from there and I went, started the training. And that's how I started. And in '97, they gave me a friendly match between, it was a centenary cup. Between Zambia and KCSFC.
Where was the game?
In the Kivubo.
Okay.
And that was when Phillip Omondi said, I've got my hair. Is it to call it a hair?
Phillip
Omondi.
Phillip Omondi, the great.
Yes, the great Phillip Omondi. So he said, no, Bidandi Musei, Nzo musika mufunye. Because we played that game, I was in number 8. And they gave me shot 8. And I played very well.
Did Omondi play the game?
Yes.
So Omondi was in
number 10.
Number 10 and
I was number 8, yes. So he said, Mfunyo Musika. And that's when he finished the game. He finished his career during that time. He told me that now let me rest. At least I've got Musika is there. I don't know, he was making maybe jokes, but I loved the way he was. Because when he saw me, he said, young man, I want you to come at 3. He used to start in Zambia, those what is that? Lugogo quarters. Those quarters.
Yes,
now
Lugogo quarters, yes.
I see a big church there. That place where there is a big church.
Fanero.
Yes. There used to be flats where even Tom Lwanga, the great Tom Lwanga also used to stay there. So he told me, I want you to come at 3. I asked him why. I saw something into you. So he used to give me some small tips about how to dribble. Because I saw this guy dribble people with his chest when Lugogo was flooded with water in that training pitch of ours. He used just his shaking of the chest. People are falling in the water. He passes here. I said, this guy. So I admired him also. But of course, of all time, I admired when I just came on football in 1986. I watched the World Cup, my first World Cup. And that was when Argentina won it. Of the likes of Diego Armando Maradona.
1996.
Yes. Judy, is it Buluchaga?
Buluchaga.
That's a great team, you remember that team. But it was always for one-man team. That was Maradona.
Yeah.
And I watched Maradona and said, can't I be even a quarter of that man? If I wish I could be a quarter of that man, of Maradona. And I said I never saw anybody else better than Maradona until when Bidandi Ssali said, no, young man, there was a man called Pelé, Judas meant or something. Yeah, Pelé.
Yeah.
So he used to show, he told me, come and see this Pelé here. Whenever he used to come back home from work, we used to sit there and he shows me the King of Brazil tape. And I said, oh, even Pelé was a fantastic football player. So,
and he won the World Cup.
Yes, he won the World Cup.
Years.
He told me he's the king of football.
Yeah.
So I tried to combine the two, but I said I want to be a quarter of Maradona. And I started making research how Maradona used to train and what and so on. So I said, no, I must double this. So I used to train 5 times a day. And I remember that word and the question Alan Okero asked me when I came to talk to the KCC footballers. He asked me, many people talk about you, but I don't know, how was your training session? I told him, who trains 5 times a day? Everybody was surprised. Nobody could train even thrice a day, but I trained 5 times a day.
How? Break that down.
Very early in the morning. I used to wake up in the morning at around 5, go for road work, some kilometers in that area of Ssimbwa, Kololo, now where there is WBS used to be, now it is NBS.
Yeah.
I used to come from Bidandi Ssali's home there, jog down there,
there
were no houses there.
That hill there.
Yes, there were no houses. Dogs used to chase me within those corridors. So, and then at 10 I used to train football at Kololo SS, but borrow work, go back for lunch. Now we used to stop at around 1 school time, and then at 2 p.m. I jog at Lugogo, go from Bukoto.
In that sun?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to Lugogo, go to those steps. You know, National Council of Sports where it is.
Yeah.
Those steps, I used to go there. There is a hill on the side. Used to sprint on that hill. How many times are those?
And then you have the club training.
Yes, that is where I'm coming. 4 p.m. we used to have the club training, whatever it is, or which program, or running, or what, or physique. And then after training, I used to rest a bit, walk around up to City High, and then again, jog up to my home.
Wow. In this whole thing, do you understand anything to do with science, sports science, feeding your body?
I didn't
you're just running all over the place.
I just used to run and go back to Bukoto where we used to stay with Bidandi Ssali. Then Bidandi Ssali located me back to, got me a house where his mom stayed at Bukoto there. I don't know what is it. Bukoto stage where you branch to go to Kisas. That there's a houses, just have some houses for.
Interesting.
For Bidandi Ssali there. So he got me a room there, and I used to stay there with my the Jaja. Is my Jaja is of course Jaja, but because he was a Bidandi Ssali, she's a Bidandi Ssali's what? Mom. I don't know if she's still living, but I think she's now gone.
Yeah.
May her soul rest in eternal peace. And Bidandi used to come from his home to come and check on me there. Wow. And even one time he surprised me. He came and said, "Young man," this time Villa was trying to push me on the wall to take me. And he came and said, "I've come here this very early morning. I came when you were not here. Where have you been?" I told him I had gone for road work. He was so excited.
Wow.
Yes. And then he told me, "Put tea there and we have a tea." I said, "What? The minister wants to take a cup of tea
with you?
With me?
At your small place?
At my small home? What am I going to give this man?" He said, just put on tea, put on tea. And we made our black tea there with, I used to have some bread and eggs there. He told me, "No, we have only tea. I need to go to the office." So this man was a very, very cunning man in football administration.
Do we have such administrators
today? I have not seen so much because I've not been living in Uganda so much. Ugandan football, I've coached very few times in Uganda. I've always been so much out of the country. So this is something now we want to put also in KCC football players so that they understand. But I've always done it myself. Wherever I go and meet footballers, I talk to them about that thing. That footballers need to do ABCD, or the administrators don't play for administration. Don't play for administrators. And very few footballers who have played for administration have gone down.
You talk about Pelé, of course, Maradona, Omondi. Just playing behind Omondi, experiencing that, how was he like? I mean, I've not watched any tapes of him. I've seen images and all. This is a man who jointly top scored for Uganda at the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
In the final, he was, I think, he had 3 goals with Abdurazak of Ghana in the final. I think they had 4 goals, 3 goals. Scored that cracker when we beat Nigeria 2-1 in the semi-finals. This, guys, for those of you who are young today, this is the guy we're talking about. Joint top scorer, Africa Cup of Nations final, which Uganda lost to Ghana. Scored a cracker. Tom Lwanga told me a story, that goal at 2-1 against Nigeria. He beat the entire Nigerian defense. They had the giant keeper, I'm forgetting the name. He made him go down twice and had to just slot it in. This is the semi-finals of Africa Cup of Nations. And then Abedi Pelé, the Ghanaian, who is a legend in African football, was a ball boy, and Omondi is his idol. So you playing right behind Omondi as he's in the evening of his career. What's so special about him?
I didn't know who Omondi was.
Okay.
Because I never saw him play. And that very game is when I didn't know much about Phillip Omondi.
Yeah.
But the late John Akii-Bua used to tell us the stories about Phillip Omondi. That man you see, he did this and this and this about that story you're talking about. So that's how I learned that, hey, this man has done a lot for football, has done a lot for his football career. And I started, he used to walk, there's a certain way he used to walk, And when we used to play there to go as cases, I started imitating the way he walks. And the guys were some Ssimbwas and some friends, Derek Mayanja used to laugh because they had retired. And I told them, I'm coming. I started imitating
I'm the one.
I'm imitating about him. So he said, oh, yeah. But he was, the little thing I saw about him was a fantastic football player. I've not seen this before. I've not seen footballers dancing on the ball like he used to dance. and I also started dancing on the ball like that. So that's why one time I said the lawyers are there to judge between him and Jackson Mayanja. But I really respected him highly. There used to be also a certain footballer called Stephen Bogere, but Stephen Bogere came, when I came, he was also finishing. I didn't play with him so much. He was also finishing the game. So it was me who took over from him. The coach had to say, no, let me start Jackson Mayanja. And Bogere was a good man also. He used to encourage me so much, Stephen Bogere. But Uganda produced great players, so many great players. But of course, one player or two players is above the rest.
You know where I'm going.
Yes.
You know where I'm going. 2012, we were at Nambole. And I again asked you, there's always been this debate, you and Sam Ssimbwa. Of course, Sam Ssimbwa, one of the best dribblers in the country. I think he came after Obadiah Semakula.
Yeah.
On the right wing.
Peter Mazinga, the likes of Robert Semakula, but Obadiah.
Yes, Obadiah.
Yeah.
And then you told me, because Sam Ssimbwa thinks he's better, he was a better footballer than you. You dismissed that. And then I asked you, okay, you tell me. You, Sam Ssimbwa, then I asked you to actually rank yourself. And then I remember very well, you told me, Phillip Omondi is here.
Yep.
Then there's some distance.
Yes.
Then me.
Yes.
That's you.
Yes.
And then some little distance, and then Magid Musisi. Then the rest they can sort themselves. Do you still stand?
Of course, because
with that,
you know, football.
Yeah.
That's why today they are talking about Messi. They are talking about Maradona. They are talking about the king Pelé. But where the Ronaldos were there. The Ronaldos, not this one.
Nazario.
There was the
Dadima.
Ronaldos.
Yes.
They were the Gauchos. You know, why don't they talk about those people? They just talk about them as greatest footballers. So like I said, that they were very good footballers in Uganda who played football. But of course, some players arise above the rest. And it is not that they talk about themselves. It is about the lawyers of the game, and those are the fans who really know that really this one was ABCDE. And when I played football, I never knew. After retiring, I started coaching. That's when I knew, oh, I was a good footballer. Because I started coaching, and I used to throw the balls for the footballers. I looked at them, the way they controlled, the way they headed the ball, the way they were turning on the ball. I used to think they are going to do this, they do another way. So I almost retired in 1 month.
You were frustrated,
coach.
Right?
I was frustrated just in 1 month as a football coaching career. I almost retired in 1 month because I thought they were doing things I used to do. Until this man, Tom Rwanga, told me, no, Jackson, you're a coach. Don't retire. Don't retire.
You're no longer a footballer.
You're no longer a footballer.
You're a coach.
You're a coach. That's why you're a football coach. So I thought they could do things I used to do. But again, my elder brother, the one we have just talked about, Sam Ssimbwa, was one of the best right wingers when we talk about wing. But we normally talk about football. But there is what we call the completion. When you build a house, there is where you start and then you make the completion. It's always the hardest one. Completing a house is always when you reach there. You can come from the what? But to complete a house.
The complete structure.
The structure, that's where the difficulty comes. Because you have to look for money, what, so many things. So even the complete football player, he was a very, very good player, but not a very complete footballer. But he used to be the best in his position. Like you see when we talk about the late Magid Musisi, we had many good strikers here. I remember even Magid Musisi, when he came from France, Stade Rennes, they asked him why. He said that my coach wants me to play like Jackson Mayanja.
But
that was his comment.
Yeah.
My coach wants me to play like Jackson Mayanja, take on one, take on two like that, and then put balls. But I'm a scorer. I'm a goal scorer. And that is, you can't compare Magid Musisi. I'm telling you this. And I'm telling people who are listening. They will never compare Magid Musisi to any striker here in Uganda. I've seen them all. They were very good players, good strikers. I don't downplay them. They were very good strikers. But in terms of scoring, power, strength, technique, this man was superb. So in his area there, we used to have the Issa Sekata, the golden boys. Like we say, golden boy, Issa Sekatawa, Frank Chaze, Kaweo, that one was a goal scorer. The Fimbo Mukasa, there came the Figos, they nicknamed him Figos. All these guys were good strikers. And then when we talk about the wing, talk about some Ssimbwa, Obadia Semakula. I watched one of the very few time I watched this man, Peter Mazinga, Robert Semakula. We had many couple of players there. So when you talk about in that line, like you talk about the central defenders, Tom Ruanga, Tora Sule is coming. These were great players.
Jimmy Chirunda,
a man who was scoring from defense to
top scorer.
And becomes the top scorer.
32 goals, yeah.
Now you can't tell me you match him with who? With
Magid Musisi.
No. Paul Hasule.
The Paul Hasule.
Yes, those are great players, the Paul Hasules.
Yes.
But you can't match him.
Yeah.
Now you get my point.
I get your point.
Then, as I said, in every tournament, one player arises above the rest, and that is football. That in football career, we have good players, we have complete footballers, we have great players, but always there is a player who arises above the rest in that generation. Like now you talk about Magumba Hakim. Magumba Hakim was a very good player, but you could not match him with Stephen Bogeri.
Yeah.
So that's what we call.
Every generation has some,
but
there's greatness.
There is the greatness.
Yeah.
And always in the greatness, there is always the greatest.
I think the country agrees that Phillip Omondi is the greatest ever. Do you agree?
Yeah, there was that debate between Jackson Mayanja and Phillip Omondi. But for me, I believe Phillip Omondi, the little thing I saw him, was a fantastic, a great player. I can't.
Do you think he was greater than you?
I did see him play, but I think the things I saw him play, I think he is the greatest footballer Uganda has ever produced. Yes, then there comes in the man, and then the other people. You see, it's not always good to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
I've heard the stories about people talking about Jackson, and I don't want to talk about Jackson. Jackson is a humble guy, down to earth man. He came from a humble family.
Yeah.
A family for a man who was supposed to be a father, but he didn't become a father. He got a family. So that is it. But I respect all footballers who have really done wonderful job for the Cranes. I used to hear about the Kulabi Ghost. We used to hear about. I saw Rogers in Ssemugabi. People didn't see Rogers in Ssemugabi. I was a young man. We are the ones who were bringing for them sugarcane at the balls at Villa Park. Yeah, Uganda has produced quite a very, very, very many good players. But when you talk about people who have watched them and they start talking about you, that you are better, you are this and this. Anyway, don't carry it, but until when I finished football, that's when I knew that, hey, people are rating me again alongside who? Phillip Omondi.
Yeah.
And then I was happy about it, but I left it there.
Okay.
Yeah, but my elder brother, Ssimbwa, he was a great right midfielder. And he's still, I have not seen also another right midfielder now playing the same way Ssimbwa used to play. Yeah, and other players of this generation. Like you see, I saw Gogorimbo. It's called Gogorimbo. Paul Ssali. Yes, that time. Yes. Yeah, they're talking about the Onyangos. The Onyangos are good footballers, good goalkeepers. But this Paul Ssali was if you look at Paul Ssali, the way I saw him as a young man, and there came the John Akii-Bua and so on. So you can't again rate Onyango to Paul Ssali. Paul Ssali was another goalkeeper. John Akii-Bua was another goalkeeper. And then we come in, Onyango is also another goalkeeper in this
generation.
Yes.
Awesome. Today, is there any player that excites you?
I just got this time just recently. I went and watched Chan.
Yes, Chan.
And I saw this young man, Ivan Ayimbisiwe.
Yes, the striker.
Yes.
Who sat down the goalkeeper.
Do you know, these are things we are talking about.
Yeah.
somebody dribbles a goalkeeper
Yeah.
from a distance, he reminded me those things.
Yeah.
Because me, I never dribbled people just closer to me. I used to dribble people from a mile. You already finished. A mile, you already done. I knew this one is done. Even the goalkeeper is already done. I used to score goals, but not from the touch. I touched the ball.
Yeah.
But
You scored it long ago before it happened.
yes, before it happens, I knew this is a goal. I knew this is this man is already done, and that is how I saw Ivan in Ssimbwa against this game. He scored a goalkeeper. What was this match?
I think it was Guinea 3-0.
Yeah,
Guinea 3-0. One of those two that we won. Guinea, Niger.
So
yeah,
this is the talent.
yeah,
That is a striker, and I hope and I wish Uganda Cranes coach Put is watching this. He should give this boy a chance. This boy is not doing these things by chance. And in fact, I saw him against Villa again, just recently, in Nambole. Was it Nambole? Yes. KCC won, I think. KCC won. It's the same thing. He did it again. So which means he's not doing things by chance. He's a gifted striker. Only that such boys need help. They need more training. They need more things to see. So this is the only time I have seen and went back to those times of the Magid Musisi, over the Bogeres, over the Hasules, over the some Ssimbwas, over the Jackson Mayanjas, the Omondis.
yeah.
That is when I saw that
That was a good moment.
that was a good moment. This man exists on front of the camera. And in fact, I don't know how this boy is, but if he continues doing this, he might not be around. He only needs to be given a chance, more chances in the national team. You saw a national team, when they give you chance and you prove that again and again and again, Uganda will have another striker. I don't know how old he is now, but he reminded me many things. That's the footballer.
Let's go back to you. Your first title comes in 1987, Uganda Cup, KCC. You win, I think you get that bad injury where you're out of the season. I think
After my
1989.
first year, I
then
started for the whole season. 1989.
You come back in 1990. I think you win your first league in 1991.
We won the Kakunguru Cup in 90.
In 90.
When I came back.
Yes. Then 91, your first league.
Yes, and 92, we were winning it. I left for my professional football.
And meanwhile, you know, this time you're scoring goals from the midfield.
Yeah.
Because you scored, I think, after 91, the 92, you scored 23 goals from the midfield. Only Magid Musisi scored more goals. He scored 29 goals. And Magid Musisi scored those goals in a half season before he moved to France. That's how good he was, Magid Musisi.
Definitely.
Magid Musisi, for our followers and viewers today, or footballers today, Magid Musisi, the striker that Jackson Mines has talked about so well, scored more goals in half season than anyone else, and he moved from Uganda direct to France, third rent. So that's how good he was.
And in fact, that's how we bought that house. Now people are fighting for.
Which one?
In Mayanja. I saw some clip there, and it was between me and him, and I advised him and I told him, man, this money you got, you better buy something you will remember. And when I saw some children saying they are selling that house, I was really very, very, because I remember went to Bukasa with him. That was not his way. He didn't want such things. So he told me, they are selling me this house here. In Bukasa, you know Bukasa?
Yeah.
Bukasa, there was a quarry there. I don't know if it still exists. I told him one day, you buy this place. And he bought it. The house was unfinished. He finished it, and then he stayed there with his wife, Susan, and he went to France. So when I saw it on the TV, children one time wanted to sell it. I was really very bad.
Yeah.
I felt so bad, but anyway, he saw rest in eternal peace.
Yeah. So 92, I mean, you are attracting now people not just in Uganda, but in the world. El Masry, Egypt. Come, and they send you for $30,000. Big money at the time as well.
Yep.
Big money. Yep. You go to Egypt and you become a fan favorite. Just take me to Egypt, the experience there, what we don't know about Egypt. Is that where Mia came from?
In fact, before I went to Egypt, the late Tusha had given me $2,000.
Okay.
I just to leave KCC.
And go to Villa.
Because they approached me for some time.
Yeah.
To leave Villa, KCC, to come to Villa, I refused. I said I just wanted to put my career up, and I used to have those fans, the KCC fans. I used to see them. There was that abuse of very big, conflicts of fans of KCC Express and Villa. So I never wanted to leave KCC. So he said, okay, if you don't want to leave KCC, we are getting you a contract out of Uganda. So he had got me.
Just to make actually don't be at Villa.
Just to leave KCC.
Yeah.
So they had got me a contract to go to Orlando Pirates,
South Africa.
In South Africa, and that Orlando Pirates that time.
My God, very good.
Very good club, very very good club, and Kaizer Chiefs, the likes of some teams there. So he gave me $2,000. I go and finish up with my family to just see what happened.
Just take care of this problem from KCC.
No, you just go and they say, and then they tell your KCC people that But unfortunately, that man came in of El Masry, Said Mitwali, and I had to take him to Mr. Bidandi Ssali, and we to his office. He told me, when I told him that the man wants them, he told me, what? Who is this man? We don't want to see that man. During that time, to sell a footballer from Uganda was like a crime. There was a bit of wakanya kwa manyi. How can our best player go? They used not to like that. And even Magid Musisi to go, it was because of that big money. So I had to leave, and Bidandi Ssali said, okay, young man, try your luck. And I left. Kastato Sambidechi from Uganda. Hey, you go. And that's how I left KCC. And the man took me there to Egypt. We found the pitch was full of capacity. Welcoming me. Because that time, I was in fact the top scorer of the AFCON qualifiers.
6 goals.
6 goals, and nobody has ever done that.
Yeah.
They had been following me, and we started there. We went there for a friend. We went with Hippo Abdurrahman because he knew Arabic. Yeah. Nobody in KCC knew Arabic. Neither me. So Hippo knew Arabic.
Okay.
So he went there and made the deal. The deal was done. They left me there. So my first game was against Ahly Hilal. Yes, we were playing. Ahly. We were playing against the great Ahmed Shobel.
Zamalek?
Yes. No. Ahly. This time they were in Ahly. And who is this guy, the striker? Osam Hassan. They were in that team. Yeah. And we went and drew. Fans were excited the way I played. I made even a volley, and the ball hit on the crossbar and came back. It was a fantastic volley. It was a joy to watch that time. Yeah. And that was the beginning of Jackson Mayanja in Egypt. I stamped my name in Egyptian football. Three seasons? Yes, 3 seasons. 3 seasons, and that is the time they bought me. Esperance Sportive de Tunis bought me, and I went to. And I made a very good name. I had a very good stay in Egypt.
You came back. I think you had some issues with Esperance.
Yeah, no. It wasn't Esperance. It was Egypt. El Masry. It was about the money.
The money.
Yes.
You came back to KCC.
Yes.
But then you couldn't play for KCC. You were on the bench.
No, I didn't play. I didn't play for KCC because I had a contract.
So just waited, and then
I still had a contract with El Masry.
Okay. Then Esperance comes in.
Yes. No. I went back, played my seasons. Cranes went to Egypt. Was hammered 6-0. I was in that team when they hammered us 6-0 in Egypt, but I was in Egypt at that time. Esperance was watching in Egypt, in Tunis. They were watching on Al Arab side. They said, we want that young man from Egypt. And they came. When I came back here, I was just trotting in that arena of Lugogo. A phone came at National Council of Sports. There's a lady called Rose, was a secretary there. She called me when Salim Shibubi said, hey, how are you, Jackson? I'm here. You are booked at the British Airways offices, go to Kampala, British Airways, Boeing, blah, 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 and so on. The ticket is there, please come over. I had to talk to Rashid Modin. You know Rashid, the late Rashid Modin?
Yes. Monitor
Publication. Yes. You must have known that guy. I told him, I've been jogging here, but they're calling me, and I'm still having a contract with El Masry. We have just come back from Egypt. We have hammered Koreans 6-0. So those guys saw number 8. To buy a player, from a team which has lost
6-0.
6-0. It was not, it's not something easy.
Yeah.
So I said, what can I do, Rashid? He told me, you just fly. When I called John Akii-Bua, he told me, where are you going? They might even take you to this boat. There was this maybe you want to be a victim. Why are you going there? No, stay here and go back to Lugogo. And you know, I said, Rashid Mudini told me, you go and pick your ticket and go. I went and picked the ticket. It was a direction from here to Gatwick, Geneva to Tunis. And I went.
Wow.
When I reached there, I went alone. When I reached there, I trained. It was a Brazilian coach. I trained for 30 minutes. Again, on that very night, they put me on the flight to go back to Egypt. But I had a very good time.
Go back to Egypt and do what?
And get sort out everything, the ITC and so on. During that time, it was about that. Unlike today, you go to, you know, the technology is very big now. You don't need to travel so much. But during my time in Egypt, I had a very good time there.
So they had to pay Egypt
yes.
and buy you out of contract?
Yes. They bought me out of contract.
Okay. They paid, I think, $20,000.
No, it was about 60,000 because I took the check myself.
Okay.
Yeah, $60,000.
Wow. So
that guy, when we reached there, he said, "Thank you for making up for us good money. But what are we going to tell the people? That we have sold Jackson Mayanja
to Esperance.
We have sold that Mia guy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
We have. He convinced me to stay, but I said now, when I reached there, they told me the history of that club is the champions of Africa, and we were still there, vying for the championship of Africa. He said, "Oh, I have now to go to another level." So that's how I left my famous club, El Masry, where I was very famous. I used to be loved in El Masry. In Egypt, I was loved.
Did you learn Arabic?
Yes, I speak Arabic very well, even up to now. I left Arabic for a long time, but I speak Arabic because every time I used to be with many people here around me, signing autographs, moving with the young boys, moving with big people. You know, I used not even know to walk in Port Said because of the fans. The fans used to love me so much. One time we beat El Mas Zamalek in the cup, and I scored the goal. My shirt was taken into pieces, and so I've never seen. I saw things I didn't see here. KCC fans loved me, but fans in Egypt loved Jackson Mayanja, because even one time a man gave me a horse, and as a young man I didn't know what to do with the horse until when I came back here and I watched the horses in this man Sudil. Yes, I saw the horses. I said,
I mean, I had a horse.
And the horse was very expensive.
Yeah.
But I took back the horse to this man, and he gave me some little money. I told him, "You don't want to take the horse?" I didn't know even a horse could travel to Kampala. So that's how I took back the horse.
Yeah.
One man gave me a daughter. To marry a daughter, yes. He told me, "I want you to marry my daughter, Jackson." And it became what? You know, I said, but I never took the daughter. So in fact, when I went to Egypt, I was still also a young man and naive. I didn't know what the world is. I didn't know many things, you know. And even that man, I didn't know. Even the money they bought me, I was not there. I was just signed there.
I mean, you carried the
yes, I was just looking at football.
You didn't have an agent?
I didn't have. No agents like today. Today an agent, when you come and shoot a ball on the goal post, on the crossbar there, tomorrow you are in Tunis. Tomorrow you are in Egypt. Tomorrow you are in France for trials. You are in Kazakhstan for trials. But unlike during that time, I told you Uganda produced very big, good players before. We used to have very, very good players. And to pick one of you, even in the cranes, to start, was not unlike today. Because now I'm seeing my brother, our brother here, my colleague, struggling in Europe to look for talent who are born in Uganda, looking for them. During that time, Put could not go there to look for players. And they bring them to play for the Cranes. Really, it is very embarrassing today. Because a national coach looking for players who are born Ugandan, it's not bad, but that shows you there is a problem in terms of development. There is a problem. if a coach starts looking for players, and he has now looked for players with the back four, which he has settled very well, but where are our own from the league? Where are our own development structures? You know, so that is one of the problems. During that time, even the boys you see playing in Narubare, the boys playing in Narubare was a team in Buyukwe. They used to have even a young man there called Eddie Bender. So these are they were not very high-profile players, but those are good skilled players. But you could see in the national team, again the big cream in the league. Nairo, Zambia, Kabugo, you remember Kabugo? Yes. Sam Kabugo, he was the captain of the Cranes. But how can a player come from Zambia and you captain the Cranes? That means you must be a very good and the qualities of a leader. Yeah.
So your time at Esperance wasn't that long as?
No, I didn't stay long there because my knee got a problem and I decided to terminate my contract. The president of Esperance pleaded with me and I said no.
Remember you had done surgery?
Yes, surgery. So that was my problem. I said no. And even he paid me good money. He paid me some money. I said, Jackson, you want to leave, but you have to pay the club. If you want to leave, definitely you pay the club. But he paid me and said, Jackson, we liked you. We have done a wonderful thing here. And I left.
You come back home?
I came back home and Bidandi Ssali told me, Jackson, go back home. Yes. Go stay. And I wanted to retire because of this knee. He told me, go to Lugogo and start watching Lugogo there, watch your friends training. But I didn't know what he meant because he knew if I stay in Lugogo there, by Uganda tuita chinyegenyege.
What does that mean?
Chinyegenyege, you get something in your heart and you say, push it to Uganda and say, why don't I put on the boots again? Yeah. So I went to Lugogo and that time Mandela, I think was a Villa man. Yeah. We used to move together. I used to see him around. And one time he told me, I want you to play, at least put one time a jersey for Villa. So he wanted me also one time. We were just cracking jokes at his petrol station. I met him there with Akim Magumba. He told me, oh, refuse to play for Villa. I can't give you even my fuel. It was a joke. I like this guy, Mandela. He's a very football watch.
He loves the game.
Yes, he loves the game. He loves the game like who? The now newly crowned champion of last season, Mulindwa. Yeah, Mulindwa loves the game, but not like Mandela. Mandela loves football so much.
There's the allegations that Jackson Mayanja, yes, you are KCC, but that you were a Villa fan.
Yeah, because we used to be at Villa there, Villa training, because I used to stay in Zambia. So we used to stay at Villa Park there. As young men, we used to, in fact, even Twaha Chivumbi was my friend as a young boy. We used to bring sugar canes for them and so on. So we used to associate there. But when I crossed to KCC, I became a very, very strong KCC fan. And because I loved the club.
At the start, you were a Villa fan because of
I was not a Villa fan, but I loved Villa because we used to stay there. And that time was during Kawoya's time. It was Kawoya's time, and then came Mandela. And I think Franco Mugabe. These are guys who used to love football and they have the passion of the game. Yeah. I wish we can also have more people now today. I think today now we talk about the people who have in a private entity. We talk about Mulindwa, isn't it? Yeah. Do you have another person there? In the private? Not as big. The person who puts in his money. Yeah. Really, who puts in his money.
Man who built a stadium that hosted Uganda when Uganda had no stadium.
Yeah, so when we talk about the passion of the Kalet Kawoyas, the Bidandi Ssali, the Franco Mugabe, we've expressed who? Bade Mogeras, the late Sande Manalas, the Chigwes, and the other teams from Jinja, the other teams from Mbale.
And the biggest difference of all those guys.
So during that time,
never built homes for that.
Yes, during that, these are municipal council community stadiums like Mbale Stadium. So if we talk about people who love football today in a private thing, I think Mulindwa is number one. Yeah, Mulindwa is number one. People who are putting it, I don't say other people don't love football, but
the level of the investment,
investment part to put in their money. Mulindwa, I think, is one of the people who has put in investments from his pocket.
But after that knee scare, You come, somehow you start playing for KC again. You win your second league title as captain now.
Yes.
1997.
Yes. In fact, in 1997, I didn't want to lose. Because KCC, when I left KCC 6 years, they had never won a cup. So when I came back, I became a captain. I captained the Ibrahim Sekajas, where these are young guys coming in the game. The guys, the late guys, the Wile Chambade, Mosoke Lawrence, you remember that deep six?
Yeah.
Was fighting all over the place, heading all over the place. Ibrahim Sekaja commanding the defense. Hussein Ssali. Oh my God. Hussein Ssali, you remember him?
Yeah.
He was a smart goalkeeper. That's why I'm telling you, Uganda was produced many good players before. So, but we have to accept that during that time was also difficult times for Uganda, because the Nigeria, Ghana, and so-called DRC, Kenya here, our neighbor here, Tanzania, Rwanda, our neighbor here, they had also produced very good players. You know, remember the Ronyamiras,
Tanzania.
A few players to talk, Karechezi of Rwanda, Gatete, you know, very many.
Gatete is the striker who scored that goal where we self-destruct with the match. Juju.
Those were just talks, but these are good players. You remember the likes of in Kenya, they used to have we didn't play with them, but the likes of Ambrose Ayoyi, you could hear the radios, you heard about Ambrose Ayoyi from the start up to the end, the commentator talking about Ayoyi.
Just like Tanzania,
yes.
Headaches, you know, Sekafa.
So many footballers were produced during that time. So Uganda also had fantastic footballers, so compared to today. But you see, this is the generation where we are in now, that the qualifications have been extended. Also, some people are downplaying that, you know, when they extended the teams for qualifications, that's why Uganda is qualifying for the World Cup. That's why Uganda is qualifying for the African Cup of Nations. No, even things have changed.
Yeah.
I think the Federation President, Moses Magogo, has done a lot to make sure
fending for like fending food for your family, or
looking for funds.
Oh, funding. Okay.
Funding, yes.
Sourcing
for funds for the cranes, for the football also. Now you see Uganda. How I was watching His Excellency, the President of Uganda,
1.2 billion
hosting these players in the state house. That thing was never there during our time. They hosted us when we won the Sekafa. And that was my first earning of 500,000 shillings from the president. My first handshake from President, His Excellency, President Museveni. He handed us 500,000 when we won Sekafa. And that's the first time I saw him.
Which year was that?
I think it was 1992 when we won Sekafa from Zanzibar.
From Zanzibar.
I think, yes.
And you won
the
3 Sekafas.
Yes, I won 3
So did you get a handshake for all the 3 Sekafas?
Yeah, when we went back, he said, you know, Uganda now is having a very good peace now. So he made us laugh. And it was Bidandi Ssali who took us there. He said, kakati mulaba ebintu bya Uganda, kati Uganda erina emirembe. So we laughed. When we went there, we were eager to get another money. But anyway,
the first one was 500,000.
Yes, 500,000. Early 90s. So you see that now, His Excellency with Mama Janet, they have tried to push. I went to the stadium and I watched
Nambole
when we lost, and I saw Janet was there. I said, hey, Mama is here. She has come to watch the football. I think this is great.
The one against Algeria?
Yeah. No. We lost, yes, 3-0.
Yes.
She has come to watch this game. I think we are good to go now. Yes. Because during that time, of our playing time, we used to hear this Hosni Mubarak. He comes to the stadium. The
Egyptian president.
Yes, the Egyptian president. The one of next in Kenya here. Arab Moi.
Yes.
He used to come and say, watch our wananchi waingie. And they all flood the stadium. So when I watched Mama, it was very good. And some of these things, I also attribute it to the president for sourcing, because he became a member of parliament. He goes to the floor there. He talks about football. Nobody used to talk about the game there. And even to make people love it there. So even things, however much they say, blah, 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 so on. But I think Magugu has done that part. I thank him for that part. Now, the only thing which remains is to see it that he engages so much also these soccer legends of the game. You know, like I told you, people played football, but there are those who played football.
Yeah.
Like Mwanga said one time, they were burying the late of Express. The late what? Of Express, the late man of Express. Now the late father for now, man who is in charge of Express. Benedict
Attorney General?
Yeah, Benedict. Yes, that Attorney General. His father.
Yes.
Was called
I'm just
something.
Yes.
Then that,
but Jolly Chiwanuka. Yes.
He said, "Banange fena tuli wano tuze mu kuziika." That was Mwanga, Vice President.
Yes.
Tuze wano okuziika fena tuli bantu. Naye leero tuze okuziika omuntu.
In short, that means we've come to bury a person.
A person.
But for this one, we've really come to bury a person.
A person.
This one is a person.
So everybody laughed. Yes, so it's the same in football.
So there are those who played football. But then there are those who played football.
Yes, there are those who played football.
Yeah,
an extent of saying yes. Yeah, yes.
Before this, at the start of CHAN, the opening match for Uganda. Yeah, it should be. Maybe opening day Uganda. They introduced legends. You were one of the legends who was introduced. You, Paulo Ssali, and Tom Luanga.
Yes.
I thought that was a good gesture.
Yeah, it was a good gesture from FOFA.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling about. That's what I'm talking about. It's like now the government of Uganda, His Excellency, President Yoweri Museveni, NRM. I played football during this regime. I've never seen any other regime apart from His Excellency President Museveni when I was still young. And I think all what I have achieved in this game is from His Excellency. And if he's listening, he should do something.
He watches this show, by the way.
If he is watching this show, he must call us also the legends, the football legends. At least
maybe you speak to that camera.
Yes,
we will tag him on
His Excellency. I know.
Yeah.
You have helped this generation. I saw you giving out 1.2
billion
that
per
was
week.
Something well done, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was a very big motivation for Ugandan football ever. And was a milestone achieved by you, the President of the Republic of Uganda. And the Federation President also, because I don't think if he had not gone and talked to him and he accepted. So, Mr. President, thank you. But we have also a legend's what? A football legend's what?
Platform or group?
Platform or group.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the presidents, so I'm one of the chairmen of that group. These guys need your help, Mr. President. And my friend, because I met him one day when my father was almost passing away, that was now is the CDF. Is it CDF?
The son?
Mohoz.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mohoz. We met one time in a hospital there, and he helped me so much. He was not during that time as a person who is now in the power. I also thank him. Let me tell him here. I don't know if he remembers, but Mohoz helped me that time when my dad was passing out in HIK. And Madam Jovia Sale, they went and saw my mom, my father there in the hospital. Because they met me there. I didn't know them, and they knew me. So that's how we are. So thank you very much. But now, Mr. President and Mr. Mohoz, the legends are there. They need your help because we have seen them dying on the streets. And what you did this time for this generation was fantastic, and I really appreciate.
Mia. Okay, that was a good pitch there, and they will definitely see it. So just to recap, the Uganda Cranes, I mean, we've seen what you did with the club. Uganda Cranes, AFCON 1994 qualifiers, 1993, Adam Ssemugabi, Nachivubo.
Yeah.
Uganda get a penalty. We score that and we are almost there, right?
Yeah.
Magid Musisi was on the pitch. You were on the pitch.
He was there.
You were on the pitch as well.
But even Magid Musisi.
Yes, Magid was there.
Yes.
You were there.
Yeah, all of us.
We get an opportunity on a penalty. And none of you guys is taking the penalty. What happened on the pitch? Adam Ssemugabi took it. We didn't score.
No, that ball, that day, we are 2 professional footballers in the team during that time. And in fact, it is very unfortunate if I see, because we are the 2 professionals in Ugandan football for those years, flying in and out, me and the late Magid Musisi. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And I see people honoring people. When they can't honor Magid Musisi, the late, and Jackson Mayanja, who is still alive. And we wait for Jackson Mayanja, who is still alive, living now, as that for two professionals who were there in that team for 10 years with Magid. And they are not honored when they are still alive. That game, when we reached on that game, was a very big tense game and so on. And the only 2 people who were supposed to take the penalties was between me and Magid Musisi. Of course, we had to take the responsibility. But I went and picked the ball. If you look at that tape, I went and picked the ball. And I was bringing that ball to who?
To Magid Musisi.
To Magid Musisi. Because he used to take those penalties for the Cranes.
Yeah.
I took 1 penalty as a young man as I just started. I hit the ball.
Against Malawi.
Malawi, when I just come in football.
Yes.
And everybody was asking, hey, where did that boy get the guts to get the ball when Laula Tigo is there, Magid is there, Sule is there, and he goes and takes a penalty? That boy must be a very strong-hearted boy. When I hit it on the crossbar, I lost heart, and I said, let me leave that. So that was the bad side I received as a young man in the Cranes, but it was another successful thing for me in my football career. So I brought the ball to Majidu, and then Majidu told me, no, you take the ball.
Okay.
I went and put it there. You just look at the clip very well. I put it there. But as I woke up like this, I went behind. I saw who?
Adam Ssemugabi.
Adam Ssemugabi was holding like this. He did like this. Go away. Wow. Yeah, you're taking a professional football player. He's a professional. You're a local player. And you tell a professional footballer, leave. And I take the penalty.
He was a senior in terms of age?
No. Okay. And he was a good friend of mine. We used to stay with him in Bukoto before I left for my professional career. He said, come on. But I had already heard about him taking penalties for Sports Club Villa. Up to the finals. You remember Villa went to the finals 2 consecutive years.
Yeah, for Champions League.
Yes, Champions League. He was the one taking those penalties. So I trusted him.
Yeah.
I had nothing to say because I'm a professional. I said, this man, let me leave. I left him. And I told who?
Magid Musisi.
No. Adam Ssemugabi.
Yes.
This is our life. This is our ticket. He said, never mind. We trusted him.
Yeah.
Because he took many penalties against big clubs to take Sports Club Villa to the finals. This group stages you see, these clubs are already reached there. Yes, Villa reached already in this group because this is the new format.
Yes.
You know, this is a new format. And even the KCC football club
reached the semi-finals.
When I was the captain of that club,
I
was the captain of that club. We already reached there.
Yeah.
But now the new format is coming, you know. We have new formats. So
even Express, when admitted by Orlando Pirates.
Yes,
like you've achieved everything. There's nothing clubs are doing
today.
Yes,
I've not achieved.
Actually, you've done way more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only thing is winning like I told you, winning the CAF Champions League trophies for the clubs, but they did everything. So when I saw him, he told me, go away. I respected him and I left him to take the penalty. But to our surprise, we saw the ball going to the corner kick there. I said, wow. And we left it. We got a few glimpses.
And Nigeria qualified for
AFCON. And Nigeria qualified. So we went ahead. We were waiting again for Nigeria,
and they actually won.
We were supposed to play against Ethiopia.
Yes.
And Ethiopia had already beaten them 1-0 in Addis. So we are supposed to beat Sudan here. And I scored that lone goal against Sudan from the center, against a very high-profile goalkeeper, Ahmed Bremer. You know, remember Ahmed Bremer?
Yeah,
who was a very respected goalkeeper in Africa. So we won 1-0 as we await for Nigeria to collapse a draw or to be beaten. Nigeria beat Ethiopia 6-0. Tiasia Samsoni, Peter Rufai, It was a very fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic team. Terrible West.
Yeah.
It was a very, very strong team. My friend, that team was a very strong team.
And the game at Chivubo ended
Rashid Yekin 0-0.
0-0.
We went 0-0 with them, yes. So we waited, but until when they won it, and we said maybe we would have won also that cup.
Yes.
That was the saying.
Yes.
Whatever they came from our group, they went and won it there. Maybe we would be the men there, but you never know. It's all of God is what? Yes.
Fantastic. Now, just a quick breather. We are with one of the greatest ever footballers in Uganda, Jackson Mia Mayanja, the man who did everything. He is an epitome, an embodiment of artistry, calm, but also he's a man who never took well people who crossed his path. You had some issues here with you thought the referees didn't understand the game sometimes, the way they call the games.
I think it is not always very good to understand, like I told you. Yeah. There are things I never wanted sometimes to talk on camera. That's why you see, you don't see me very much mubutara. But I have many things to talk about. This game of football I've gone through. But when I came from Egypt, I found that referees here also, they were not, the footballers themselves were not playing, putting things, tasks, let me say, putting referees on task.
Making them accountable for their decisions.
For the law and the decisions. So when I came, I started doing that. And I was paid the price of that and being given a red card. And I almost went to the court of law because of a red card, which I knew very well it was not a red card. Until when that great referee, former referee, Charles Masembe, told me, no. Because we had gone to the World Cup that man.
Yes.
He had gone to the, was it AFCON?
No, he AFCON several.
Yes.
World Cup
so he had traveled and
Korea.
Seen. He had traveled and seen.
Yeah.
Because I went and stood just some meters away on the side. And they're doing this, you see these people here in Europe. I stood there, but not in front, like we are seated here. It was just, because here is obstruction.
Yes.
Here is not there. And the goalkeeper put the ball out of what? He put the ball in play. It was not in the six. It was there. And I took the ball away from him. And I went and scored. The man gave me a red card. It was a big debate. So that was, I was exercising
your rights.
My rights, which I've been seeing there in professional football, which was not here. So one time, people, in fact, some people used to think I was abusing the referees when I used to go to them. But I used to be there and telling them, my friend, you're the first referee to give me a yellow card. What do you think? So just sweet talking them. But when I used to do this, people thought, Mayanja is now abusing. Watch the baka red card.
What's temperament?
Baka red card. Work up professional. No, it was not that. I was trying to tell them, you're the best referee I've ever seen here. But my friend, how dare you giving me a yellow card?
Yeah.
Do you think you are making a very big name? Making fun.
Jackie, anyway, you also have a very good coaching stint.
Yeah.
You coached at Bunamwaya, helped promote the Antonde stroke URA.
Yes.
You coached in Tanzania, Ssimbwa, legendary club.
Yes.
Kagera, you coached in Rwanda. You've also coached on the national team, the under-20s. You've been assistant coach at Cranes Abbas as well. I mean, you've literally served in every capacity in the game. And most recently, 2023, when KCCA, your club, had issues, they called you in to try and stabilize. Just the coaching area. Do you feel like you've done it all and now you're calm, you're out of it? You still want to coach?
No, coaching football in Uganda, for me now, is not there. Until when maybe if a national team has a problem, maybe I can come and help. As a head coach.
Yes, not assistant.
Not assistant. That one to put it on record.
Yeah.
As a head coach.
Yeah.
Not as an assistant. Yeah. Because now, Jackson Mayanja, I have a brand also to protect. Yeah, that's why you see KCC is there. When they chased a white man, they chased some people, they say, Mayanja should come back. I said, no. I can no longer coach KCC. I did a lot of things for this club. Unless when the KCC has a lot of issues, the coaches have failed to come, they have refused, then that's when I can say, can you be my club? Well, what can I do for my club? Yeah. But coaching KCC again is not They're even in Ugandan football here. Because now I'm a board member for KCC Football Club.
Yeah.
So there might be a conflict of what?
Interest.
And even the way I see things. I coached Bunawaya during the time of when Bunawaya was there. Mulindwa had not
Which is now Vipers.
Now it's now Vipers. Mulindwa had not transformed it like that. But even if now Viper is a great club, is a big club, it's a big club, but not the biggest. Like you see
traditionally.
Yes, traditionally.
Yeah.
Like you see KCC
and
Villa Express.
Yeah.
Express being its financial constraints or issues does not make Vipers to be the greatest club against Express. Those are the fastest 3 greatest clubs. I want to put it on record also. They are still the greatest clubs. Vipers is coming. Like you see in Tanzania.
Azam
has injected in a lot of money.
Yeah.
They did. I was there. Azam, my friend, they have everything. Like you see Mulindwa putting on a stadium. Mulindwa has done a great job. Even Azam did a great job. But you cannot convince Tanzanians that Young
better than Young and Ssimbwa. Yeah.
It's the same here in Uganda also. You'll never convince me, or even you. Even young boys coming, that Vipers is the greatest club in Uganda. We shall always talk about KCC Villa Express. Vipers, maybe to be convinced today, like you see in Egypt, Ahly and Zamalek has to win the Champions League. You see Pyramids.
Yeah.
But Pyramids won the Champions League, isn't it?
Yes,
they
did.
But still again, people are not convinced that Pyramids
It takes time.
It takes time.
It takes time, yeah.
Yeah, so Villa, KCC and Express remain the same. But I will thank Mulindwa also that thank you for that wonderful job you are putting pressure on these clubs to wake up.
Yeah.
So Mulindwa has put pressure on these clubs, Vipers in fact, not Mulindwa, but Vipers, with the due respect. Vipers has put pressure on these clubs that wake up, go back where you belong. If you don't go back where you belong,
we shall take over.
We shall take over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, away from coaching, you are still coaching in life, not the game. Jack Standard Academy, Jack Standard School. So Jackson Mayanja served the game, but he also has a community he comes from. And as we speak, there's Jack Standard Primary School in Mukono.
Yes.
Your area where you live.
Yes.
And when I say that, I see a smile on your face. That's from baby class to P7.
Yes.
Just tell me about that school and why you're excited about it.
Yeah, because when you say that I have smiles on my face.
Yeah.
It's because that is a school I put up to leave legacy. You see, in Africa or in East Africa here, you might be worshipped, not worshipped. What am I using a big name?
Prized, might be
you
celebrated.
You might be celebrated.
Yeah.
You might be written about. You might be talked about. Oh, Mia, oh, Magid Musisi, oh, blah, blah, blah. But it ends there. And the people, you don't find a sculpture of Jackson Mayanja in Nambole. You don't find a sculpture of Magid Musisi in Nambole or anywhere.
Which should be there.
Which it is a must, or Phillip Omondi.
Yes.
In Nambole.
Yeah.
Or now, in this generation, Onyango. You understand? Those people I'm talking about, you might not find them there. Or, for political reasons, they might put one of this generation. But those people, it is a must. Like you see, you go to Manchester United.
Bobby Charlton.
It is there.
It's there. Yeah.
You find Abedi Pele. Abedi Pele not playing in the World Cup does not mean Michael Essien was better than Abedi Pele.
Absolutely.
This is what is the problem we have in Uganda here.
Yeah.
Because somebody played AFCON, don't think he was better than Paul Asuri. We need respect. We need people to be respected. These are good players of this generation. People should not now start putting that conflict between the generation which has qualified for AFCON and the generation which didn't play AFCON. No. These are the great footballers. These are great footballers. And if I'm talking about them, I really see what they did on the pitch. And that's why I'm also talking about Magogo, Honorable Engineer Magogo, that we have had many football administrators as FUFA presidents. but they have not achieved what he has achieved. So credit also goes to him that he has achieved that feat of making the cranes get funds right away from His Excellency President Museveni. 2, getting a cranes back-to-back AFCON. Because last time they went there, I don't know, 1978. Was there any back-to-back there?
No, 2019. Sorry, 2017, then 2019.
Yes, but during 78.
78. No, we had several back-to-backs before.
Several.
In 70s.
So things were done.
In 70s, yes.
Things were done before.
Yeah.
But he has come.
Yeah.
A man who people thought he would not manage.
Yeah.
Because the doctor, Mulindwa, Dr. Mulindwa threw the towel through him when he has not even known how to manage the federation. And somehow, somewhere, he has done his job.
Yeah.
He has done his job. That's why I'm saying we have to credit him also that this man, now the under 17 is the World Cup.
Yeah.
The cranes went back to back. He has solicited the funds through hardships that people abuse him. In fact, not abuse him, but they criticize him a lot about how football is being run. But the qualifications are being done. The qualifications are being done. That's what I was telling people, that me, I don't want to be loved. I don't want to be liked because I'm talking about somebody. But I talk the truth. And that's why I'm crediting NRM government that they have done a lot on this game, in this football, this time, or this generation of Mr. Vumagogo, to put in a lot of money. Because you remember Mr. Mwangusha.
Yes.
We used to sleep. We used to sleep sometimes when these people had just come. The president has just taken over the government.
Yeah. It was a chaotic time.
Yes, we used to sleep in the airports. Sleep in the airports.
On the floor.
Yeah, on the floor.
Yeah.
We used to sleep on the floor. So things have changed now. Now we have seen it. Said, hey, this thing needs like this. Like you saw netball. Babiri had brought netball. We used to see netball in Nakivuo there, the Nachiwos, the Namukasas. People used to suffer a lot. But until when Babiri came also, Babiri, the other lady. When Babiri came,
yes.
netball started blowing up. And I don't know what happened. So all of a sudden, netball now, I can no longer hear people talking about netball. We used to see the she cranes as if it's the Uganda cranes in the World Cup, where you saw them dancing, the obstacle dances, people used to like them, you know. So these are some of the things people must sit down and revisit and say, yes, if somebody has done something good. So engineer has also credit him on that. And even the footballers, also I will credit them of putting hard work to put that money into use. Because they can put money into you and you don't put it into use. So even them, they have tried to make sure the game goes up and the qualification is done. Because the cranes or the football, the sports in any country, you will never see it when you don't qualify. Because we have qualified for the World Cup. Now Uganda, I saw it, the young man came and scored a very good goal. That's the record written. Yeah. That Uganda, when they first qualified for the World Cup, we scored a goal.
A very good goal.
Not even a very good goal, but a goal.
Yeah.
It's very important. That's enough. That going into the tournament and you don't even score a goal, it is also sometimes what? Embarrassing. You might not come out of the group, but there are things you have made, records you have made there. That's already a record now. Uganda, when we first featured in any World Cup tournament, we had a goal. Yeah. So it's a very important thing.
So now you don't want to forget crediting you, and that's why I went to Jack.
So now Jack standard, that's what I'm telling about. I'm finishing about that. Now even me, even Magid Musisi, even the other legends outside there, people need to credit us. That's why I put Jack Standard, Nursery Day and Boarding Primary School there. So that the day they will forget about me, what I did for this country, in terms of football, in terms of what I did. Yeah. All these
scars.
The scars.
Yes.
All these scars I have for the cranes.
There's the one where they chopped you.
Yes, I have one here.
Do you want us to say it?
No. Okay. But at least people know it.
Okay.
KCC Football Club have put me on the board. But I know now they are building a stadium. You never know what they are thinking about. Maybe the sculpture will be there, or the Phillip Omondi sculpture and others and so on. Now, For the cranes, that is the highest level. If you talk about people in football, I said now, Mayanja, how will I be remembered? If people don't understand or remember me in the national team, I want to be remembered also in the national team, that I did a wonderful job for 15 years, as the two professionals, Magid Musisi also did, and other people. They let them choose. They know what to do. Yeah. But if I am not remembered, what will they remember me?
Jack Standard.
So that's why I said, let me start up a school called Jack Standard.
10 years in now?
Yes, it is there.
10 years
I started in Olonot, very small place, in small places there, you know, and I had a van there. I had put some vans there. When I put them there, I put on a yellow what? I put yellow what? Designs.
Yes.
On the what? On that van.
Why?
People didn't know. They thought I'm NRM. They thought I'm supporting NRM. They started abusing me.
So what was it? KCC?
Yeah, because KCC Football Club
is yellow.
Is yellow.
Okay.
And even me, when I was a young man, I just started playing football. I loved even His Excellency himself, because His Excellency, one time when they stole votes. By the way,
who stole votes?
Yeah, by the way, me, His Excellency President Museveni, he what is it? He put me somewhere when I was listening to him. When they stole votes in was it Obote or
1980.
1980. He went to the bush. And as we young men, we asked, why has this man gone to the bush? Why does he go to the bush when he knows that the bush is fire? He's going to die there. Doesn't he know there is fire there? There are bullets there. Will he come back? Then somehow, somewhere, they told me, no, he's very determined. So he went with his few people there in the bush. They fought. In fact, when they were entering Kampala, the first bullet, because Mayanja was in the Zambia police barracks, the bullet hit on the corner where I was sleeping, because the bullets were so many, you know. And I said, hey, when he won it, when you decide something, he inspired me.
Yes.
He inspired me and said, no, even me, as a young man, I can become like President Museveni, who went to the bush and fought knowing he's going to die.
Wow.
He might not come back, leaving his family. So even me, I said, let me leave my family. If I leave studies, I left studies, and I said, let me play football. And I got what? So he inspired me in that.
Yes.
Like you see who is now the presidential what? It is who?
Bobby Wine.
Yes. Some people are saying they are inspired. He's inspiring them.
Yes.
So everybody has bought an inspirer. So even me, Museveni inspired me to that courage of saying, no, let me also go and play football. And the first day I saw him, I took a handshake on him. And my first amount of money is that school.
Oh, from the first handshake?
Yes, the first 500,000 I was talking about here.
Yes.
Is where I go and I said, no, my idol
your inspiration.
My inspiration, let me put this school. And I put it in Nangunga. And we started in a rented small houses. And after I bought a land up there. And when I bought a land up there, and that's where I put these wooden classes and so on and so on. So, and that's how I've tried to build. I've started putting on that thing. So even that yellow thing also came into such things, that my inspirer is donating yellow, and my mother club, I played my love for the club and football, the one I played only in Uganda, it was KCC, and we're putting on yellow. So Jack Standard is there. And even in COVID,
how many people is now?
Well, now we have 500 children.
500.
And
baby class 2%.
Yes, and in COVID, there are some Chinese who came looking for land, and they wanted that hill. It is located in a very good area. When you enter like this, you just see it hanging up there. Very good, very big area. So they wanted to buy it. And you know COVID, how people suffered in COVID. And I said, hey, they were giving me very, very good money, beyond $1 billion. I said, now, Jackson, I've seen money, I've not what, but $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, can I leave this money? And I started even figuring out, I was like, maybe if I sell this one, I can go somewhere and put this school. But I said, no, the money I put here was from my inspirer, my football career, and my legacy. So those 3 things made me not to sell that place. And I left it there. Thank God, COVID did what? Went away. And my school, because many people, many directors during COVID, they sold their schools. If you are not aware, yes, many directors sold their schools. Those schools which are not historical schools, those are not big schools, they sold them. And I was seeing them selling them. But I refused. And I said, if I die COVID, God forbid, this would be my legacy. People remember that.
On top of this, the school curriculum, you have football and netball.
Yes, I have football and netball. My netball team once became the champions of Nabagerika Cup. And Nabagerika Cup is not part of government issues. Government co-curricular. No, it's not about that. It's about a director who loves football, who loves sports. You inject in your money, put those girls there, and they come and participate in those tournaments like Uganda, like Cup, and so on. So I thought I wanted also to uplift the talents of those. Now we have one girl here from the Shikurens. She's called Amia. Amia came from Jack Standard.
Nice.
She was a young girl given to us by, she's now in Europe, was in Chitende. I took her to Chitende. And Chitende, yes, Mr. Mulindwa, you want to thank him for that. I'm under this lady called, she was a lady there, Chisomose. We gave her that girl, they took her, and Mulindwa looked after that girl. He paid school fees for that girl, Amia.
You also have bursaries at your school?
Yes, now even in fact, Mulindwa, when I went to his school, because I used to coach Bunamaya.
Yes.
I also got an inspiration from him to see what he used to do at St. Mary's Chitende, the way he was looking after his school, the smartness, the what. So even I copied that from that man.
For Jack Standard.
For Jack Standard. Because if you arrive at Jack Standard, it's a nice looking place. It's a good place, you know where to live. It's in the hill. Only that I hope my inspirer sees that one day and also puts in some funds. Never know.
Yeah.
But that is the why I made Jack Standard. So that when I'm not remembered by the government, by the federation, by my club, KCC, to see sculptures. Some of us, we don't need many things. We people who make history, they say great men make history. You know that? Great men
make history.
Make history. Like you can say, I have myself, I was born, KCC, I was born, not manufactured for KCC. I was born a KCC, not manufactured for KCC. And that's why I played for KCC all my life. That a manufactured player for KCC will always go for 10 million for another club.
But a player made for KCC.
Made for KCC will always play for KCC. And that is Jackson Mayanja, who was born a KCC, not a manufactured player for KCC Football Club. And I thank also the Lord Mayor during his time. He decided and said, hey, this man has done. He told me he used to come and watch me in Nakivubo. Yes, they told me he used to have me. So I said, Lord Mayor. He gave me and he put my name on the board from somewhere nowhere. He put my name on the board. So and the Tomuranga is on the board. So you see, so I'm only waiting. Yes, I'm also waiting for the government, only the government, to see this Jackson Mayanja doesn't talk. It doesn't come out about what. What do you think? So we have people really to be remembered.
Yes.
Yes, like now Mulindwa in sports, in his capacity, can be remembered. Even Magogo. Even Magogo can be remembered, can even be what? Because like I told you, Mulindwa, Magogo engineer, Mr. Magogo, Dr. Mulindwa, Mandela, you already Mandela has a what there. Yes, and some those players I mentioned. The Magid, the Hustlers, the Onyangos, and so on.
Yeah, as we wind up, Jackie, Mia Mia, that name Mia Mia, I think came up, I remember you explained to me, maybe just to clarify, it's the pound, the power in the shot that you used to take, like 100%, or your commitment?
No, the people,
what was Mia Mia?
The people in Mia Mia means somebody who is 100%.
In everything you do?
Yes, because they watched me in Egypt. The way I was playing was 100%. Discipline, 100%. Discipline off the pitch, 100%. Because I don't drink, I will not.
So Mia Mia.
Yes, so they called me Mia Mia. And
Mia Mia.
The most important thing was mostly about the football, the things I used to do on the pitch. And to play in Arab countries during that time, even today, this color, they are Africans, but they say for them they are white. They think they are white people. But a black player of this skin to play in Egypt during that time.
And be loved and succeed.
And be loved and be successful. Even for 3 months.
And you did 3 years.
Even for 3 months,
Masry,
they took their Peter Dow. You remember Peter Dow?
Yes.
When I arrived in Egypt, in Masry, they told me we used to have Peter Dow, Ahly. There was a player called Ahly. He said, I marked Peter Dow. But Peter Dow made Gor Mahia win, I think, up to the finals, Gor Mahia. He was a very good striker. He used to score many goals. But he spent only 2 months in El Masry. And he was sacked. What does that take you back? It takes you back to my story that there are players who do wonderful things in their respective positions. And there are players who are around a completion. They are complete football players. So Peter Dow was a very good striker on the African continent. But he was not a complete football player. You understand now the difference?
I know.
Yes. So he was sacked for 2 months. He was chased away, and now even you see that's why some of our players, I don't want to talk about them so many, but they go and don't last in Arab countries. 1 month, 6 months. If they play 1 month, they stay there for 6 months, and they play 1 month. The other 5 months they're on the bench or on the stands. We don't know, but because that the talent the Arabs possess is very, very high. Even you saw recently. Algeria, even not before Algeria, even Morocco. During our time, you saw we are being hammered 6, maybe sometime. But things have changed now that the technology now also has helped some of these countries, East Africa. They are not being hammered 6 like we used to be hammered. But at least, not so much like they used to be hammered.
Jackie, 6. In your family, it looks like it's only Jackson Mayanja there. How many siblings do you have? Sisters, brothers?
No, my dad, in fact, when he died, I got to know that he left behind 53 children. So he was a very serious man.
He was prolific.
Yes, a professional person. Okay. Prolific goal scorer.
53.
That's what I learned. But I never knew.
Do you know all of them?
No. But at least I knew a few. But again...
how do you fare against dad? 53 against...
No problem. That was my dad.
No. I mean you. How many...
No, me, I have very few. I have only 6.
Just 6.
Yes. But I would have loved to have 8 because of my shirt number. Shirt number 8.
Madam refused.
It's up to me now. Because shirt number 8, I want it to be in the record also.
Yes.
That was the kids he gave birth to his, to follow my footsteps as legacies. When you follow Jackson Mayanja, he used to put on shirt 8. He got only 8 children. Number 8 moves on.
Okay. So the 6, do we have any legacy, anyone playing football?
No, I've not had anyone. Like I told you, sometimes, like even in my family. I don't know where football came from also. In my family, nobody played football, yes. Only my brother called John Akii-Bua was a goalkeeper, but also he didn't go very well. But now he's a goalkeeping coach but was a very good boxer. John Akii-Bua, Nukoda, was a very good boxer. Yeah, we have sports there, but football is not so much, but apart from me. Yeah, so...
Fantastic. What a story, Jackson.
But my wife was a netballer.
Netballer. That's why you have a netball team at your school?
Not as such, but she was a netballer. So we are sports. But now she was playing during the time of those Nachus, She started also a netball team because we were staying in Kamocha near Bobby Wine's place there. We used to see Bobby Wine there. He's our friend. So he used to be our friend.
You're a man of all seasons.
Yeah, Bobby Wine he was there. I saw him there. We were studying. I was studying. We were moving with him. And Bobby Wine was a friend of mine because I saw him. You know that pitch of Kololo SS down there?
Yes.
I think now it is occupied by who? There are still buildings there now. This is school which is of Sudiri, which is school up there.
Kampala Parents?
Is it Kampala Parents? Yes, Kampala Parents. But that pitch down there. Bobby Wine started from there singing. Who was there?
Mia, looks like you are truly a man of all seasons. I mean, we've gone through football, life, politics. Museveni inspired you. Bobby, your friend, and Magogo, Mulindwa, the game, the players. So, I mean, you are an embodiment of almost
Bidandi
everything. Bidandi Ssali, of course, your father in football. Now, we are going into our final segment, which is beautiful. It's called Pass the Torch. But before that, I hope you guys have enjoyed or are enjoying this episode with Jackson Mayanja, who has done lots of great things for Ugandan football and someone who players of today need to learn from. Please don't forget, watch, love this show. Well, how about you share the good news with the rest? Just subscribe on YouTube, and if you want to join the exclusive member of the Game of Lifers, there's a link showing join on the channel. You can click it and then you get to see some of the other exclusives. So the Game of Life, my man Jackson Mayanja, Mia, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and thank you for your time. Now into our final segment, which is called Pass the Torch. Now in this segment, you get to leave advice. I mean, you've done lots and achieved lots in life. We would love to learn from you. Personally, I would love. So what's the kind of advice or word of wisdom are you leaving for anyone who cares to watch this or who loves you?
Be always humble.
Always humble.
Down to earth and God-fearing.
Be always humble?
Yes.
Down to earth?
Yes.
And God-fearing? And
God-fearing.
Wow. Thank you very much, Jackson Mayanja.
Yes.
Coacher, player, and everything. Yeah. Thank you. I've enjoyed your time. I cannot thank you enough. Maybe we'll come back and be here again. We are still alive. Yeah. All the best to Jack Standard and everything else that you are doing.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure. My pleasure to be here on the Game of
Life.
Game of Life. I see you have a very good clue.
Yeah. A beautiful team. I have ladies, you see? Just like your netball team, I have ladies on the team. Beautiful, beautiful ladies.
But and thank course, you for working for sport for some good time. Yeah. I've always been watching you, your shows, and even in NTV and Monitor. Yeah. You made big for those televisions. I hope also, as I'm also waiting for the mice capture for the cranes.
Yes.
So I hope also maybe it also they may put also you as in NTV. Oh. Monitor.
Yes. Thank you, my man. Okay, this has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.